What have I done?
The entire concept of this video was willed into existence by two things. First off, TK's Mantis made a video on the can trick, reminding me that it was something that actually existed. And secondly, this comment I left on the video that then resulted in a lot of this. Well, I am a people pleaser, so I guess today's the day we find out, can you beat Fallout New Vegas? With only pocket sand. It should probably go without saying that this is not a very serious run by any stretch of the imagination, so just keep that in mind going forward. So, with all that out of the way, let's begin. Couldn't exactly choose who to name myself after, so I chose everyone. My special stats were based around a high crit unarmed build, and yes, I finally put all my points into endurance as it affects unarmed. The last 7 points in strength are just because I didn't know where else to put them. Tag skills are unarmed, medicine, and then survival for absolutely no reason. I think I forgot to change that last one. Finally for traits, this time I went with Built to Destroy and Logan's Loophole. As mentioned in the previous New Vegas run, as your fists cannot break, Built to Destroy has exactly no drawbacks. And then Logan's Loophole is just great in runs like this, as unless I start grinding unnecessarily, I should never ever reach anywhere close to level 30. After creation, I use the power of my real life credit card by having the bonus pre-order weapons and then sell them for virtual currency to purchase as many stim packs as I can. Why? Well, I need to head to Red Rock Canyon to start the quest that give me the ability to throw sand at people, and rather than go up and around through the shortcut at Black Mountain, I am instead going to brute force my way through by heading north from Good Springs right through the Cazadors. It goes decently well, all things considered. The extra boost in medicine helps keep me alive long enough past the murder bugs, and then the raiders kind of just lost interest shortly after. Arriving at the drug runners, and I start to work for Diane, and I'm tasked with finding another great can by the name of Anders who seems to have gone missing. Well, just my luck, he is down in Cottonwood Cove, which is probably the most inconvenient place to go right now. But no matter, I just travel back to Good Springs and begin to make my way to the Black Mountain shortcut. Taking the initiative for once in my life, I decide to actually spend some time marking some nearby locations that will probably make my job a lot easier when I start to progress with the main story. This mostly just consists of the El Dorado substation along with the 188 trading post. The most direct route to Cottonwood Cove just has me head southeast as I pass by Boulder City. I thought I was in for a tough time at the sight of some rad scorpions, but then suddenly a random NCR sergeant appeared to save the day. Turns out he was one of the soldiers stationed at the substation, and he'd been following me to warn me about going into the station. I know what you're all thinking, so I will indulge your inevitable comments with this, and we shall move on. This man doesn't have the same tenacity or fighting spirit as Kowalski, however, as he is stopped in his tracks by a swarm of Cazadors. At Cottonwood Cove, I expected to be attacked on sight, as I don't have the mark yet, and I just pretended to be friendly, and they didn't question me further. Anders is nearby, and after a brief conversation, I cut him down, and despite his snail's pace of a walk, he apparently gets back to the cans before I do. This leads me right into my first drug running job, as I need to find Don Hostetler at the Crimson Caravan Company. Seeing how I'm heading there from the 188 trading post, it is actually faster for me to just walk to his house, and then wait around until midnight for him to arrive. One final job after this before I get the can trick, and it's the most dangerous one yet, as I need to travel to Vault 3, home of the Fiends. The ones in the vault won't actually attack me as I have a canned uniform for just being a good sport. As for the ones outside, however, I will need some meteor protection, and the way I see it, there is no more fitting way to do this than by abusing some chems. Due to my intelligence being at max, I have a high enough science skill that I can read the nearby Programmer's Digest to push it just over 50, and can then teach Jack how to make some new chems, the most important of which is Slasher. This then allows me to buy it off him, along with some medics. Essentially, Slasher is just like using medics and Psycho at the same time, but its real strength lies in the fact that its damage threshold stacks with medics. So in other words, I'm able to have a total of 50 DT and can more than easily type my way through the vault entrance. Inside, the doors are all open to me, so I quickly hand over the supplies, dodge the fiends on the way out, and then lead any that are still following me right towards the NCR at Camp McCarran. Back to the cans once more, I report my success, and now the run can truly begin. Well, sort of. As I usually just murder the cans in these videos, I decided that since I was already this far into their friendship, that I might as well see it through. Most of this doesn't take very long, as I've already convinced Diane and Jack that I'm to be trusted, so they have no problems not fighting for Caesar. Having Papa turn on Carl is ridiculously easy, as it just requires you to go into Carl's unlocked container, take his journal, and then hand it to Papa, who then shows him some canned justice. Last person to convince is Melissa, who is up near the Death Claws in Quarry Junction for some baffling reason. On the way, I get to test out my sand on some rad scorpions, and it is pretty bad. Luckily, the damage of the sand is determined by whatever unarmed weapon you have, so at the very least I can upgrade it, and oh boy, do I have something very specific in mind, just wait. Making it past the Death Claws is actually relatively simple, as you just follow the path out of Good Springs and then just run from rock to rock, as when you're standing on something that's above their normal ground level with no way to get to, the enemy's AI completely bugs out and they just run away. After skipping over some stones, I easily convince Melissa, which leaves one final task, that is to find some old history books for the cans. This is just a bog standard point A to B to C to A talking mission, so I won't waste your time. Just know I talked to this man at the 188 trading post to get a history book, and now I have the cans dead set on a suicide mission when it comes to Hoover Dam. That may sound a little cruel, but don't worry, they like me, the game even says so. Now it's officially time to get the ball rolling, and like I said, I have an idea of what I want as a weapon. You probably all saw this coming from a mile away, no doubt, with the 10 points in luck, but I go to the casinos and gamble until I have what looks like more money than I know what to do with, but in actuality, it is exactly how much I need. You see, with this absurd amount of money, I can go to the gun runners and purchase what is probably my second favourite weapon in New Vegas, the two-step goodbye. One reason being it is pretty powerful and I need all the help I can get, and two, it may be one of the only times I actually get to use it in a challenge run, albeit a joke run, but still. With this weapon in hand, it was time to test it out, and I have the perfect guinea pig in mind.
What the fuck are you doing? My brother died at the Battle of Hoover Dam. You're desecrating a war memorial.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
Oh, now it's on.
This is where the fun begins.
Somehow, the nearby NCR missed all of the commotion as they don't seem bothered by my presence. I thought due to my good rep with the cans that maybe I could just convince them to leave peacefully without the speech check, but that doesn't appear to be the case. It's not a huge deal to be fair, so I just go outside and use some of my winnings to persuade Monroe to let them go. This also bumps me up to idolize with the cans, which honestly means nothing, as I'm already finished with everything they have to offer me this playthrough. Stuck for what to do next, I end up just making my way back to the tops, but this time I'm here to take more than just their money. If you've never used the two-step before, you may be wondering what exactly is happening here. You see, it has the unique ability that if you manage to kill someone with a crit, they will detonate after a few seconds. Basically, what this means is I'm now throwing sand that may or may not be infused with dynamite, which if you ask me, just makes this whole situation even better. The blast radius on the explosions is larger than the game seems to indicate, as shown here. Really what this means for me is I end up with a higher number of crippled limbs in this run when compared to most of my others. Benny does fare well against me, and by that I mean he manages to take 2 doses of pocket sand before being sent to the Shadow Realm. I take a moment to then clear out all the gamblers and guards as their easy experience, seeing how most of them are oblivious to what is happening around them. After they are sanded down, I of course meet up with Yes Man, as I may as well put those idolized druggies to good use. Knocking out the last 2 casinos and house makes the most sense right now, so I start by heading over to the gloves as their love of melee weapons proves to be their undoing, as it requires them all to get within sand throwing distance. While I am here, that stupid glitch happens again where all of my sound dies, and then the game crashes as soon as I try to leave to a new area or load a save. Getting back into the game after it performs its ritual of at least 1 crash per session, and I decide to take out my frustrations on the White Gloves guests who were all just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The explosions really prove their worth here, but in the end I may have gotten a little carried away. Wanting to save the best for last, I head for the Lucky 38 now, and not even the Securitrons stand a chance. As this is a highly irradiated wasteland, even if my sand particles didn't explode on contact, I feel that there'd be more than enough germs to outright kill House within a few minutes. As this is me we are talking about, you can probably imagine I had the absolute time of my life in Gomorrah just torturing the Omertas. As you may have noticed, I am on quite a breakneck pace through the story, with really only the Boomers and Brotherhood left to meet. So I figured it couldn't hurt to take things slow and actually help the Boomers with their problems rather than end them with irony. Helping the doctor is as straightforward as ever, and due to me thinking ahead for weapon and armor repairs for once, I'm also able to go and fix up the panels for Loyal right now as well. What I wasn't prepared for was dealing with the ants. Now, usually, as you all know, I'm a melee-oriented build, so I never actually had any issues with the ants' explosive tendencies. The two-step goodbye, however, gave me a few issues. Sure, I could unequip the thing and just throw non-explosive sand in their eyes, but here's how effective that would be, and keep in mind, I already have 100 and unarmed. Yeah, no, if I wanted to leave here sometime this week, I would need to use the two-step, and thanks to my 10 in luck, nearly every kill is a bomb. After some trial and error, I found out that the only area I could kill the ants that wouldn't result in my imminent death was at the ramp up to the back entrance. They would still, more often than not, blow up, but the main explosions that they would trigger could not reach me in here so long as I kept my distance. With this plan, I was able to whittle them down until they were no more, and now I could help with the bomber. I can actually get the rebreather from Jack for a change without the materials, so I do that, and I'm able to go for a nice peaceful dive to attach the floaters. At this point, you would expect me to return to Pearl, but I had another agenda. It's rare, if ever, that I help Yes Man out at the fort, so I fast travel back to Cottonwood Cove. It would have been very simple for me to accomplish this by being friendly with the Legion, but I just couldn't resist knocking the ferryman into the water, and now it was all out war. The Legion are 90% melee fighters, so luring them in close to lower their accuracy was never going to be an issue. It's when I confront Caesar in his tent that things really don't go my way. I mean, can you see what is happening here? Because I sure can't. Yeah, well, unlucky for Caesar and his men, I managed to lure them outside onto the sandy ground where I'm in my element. It actually took me a moment to even notice I killed Caesar due to a badly timed concussion. He wasn't even that strong compared to the others. The biggest threat ended up being Lucius, who was actually smart enough to back away when he saw me ducking down to grab sand. This didn't last very long though, as after I blocked one of his punches, he must have known what was about to happen, as it seemed like he just stopped and accepted his fate. The Protectrons and turrets beneath the fort are actually less resilient than the Legion soldiers, so this part's over in a flash. By now I am riding very high on this power fantasy, and what better way to accentuate that than by assaulting the Hidden Valley bunker. Something I hadn't really thought about until now is that when you bend down to grab the sand, you're actually ducking down relatively far, and I think your hitbox goes with it, as the Brotherhood seem to have the absolute worst time trying to land a shot on me here. I did fight my most formidable foe down here, and it's the Mark 6 turrets. I knew these things were strong, but my god, it took so much sand to blow it up, it was insane. The Elder didn't last long at all, but I think the best kill down here was Harden. I don't know why, but I just find that exchange hilarious. The room with all the scribes was also pretty fun. Just watching all the items get flung around due to the explosions really just put a smile on my face. With the Brotherhood now buried beneath a ton of sand, I returned to the strip to upgrade Yes Man, watch the demonstration, and now all this leaves is a substation, but before that, I actually thought about trying to make myself look like Dave Gribble. To cut a long story short, after searching for close to an hour, I couldn't find a baseball cap anywhere. I was able to get some clothes, however, that resembled his. So sadly, in the end, I wasn't able to dress up like the Sandmaster himself, but to be fair, I don't think I would have stayed in the outfit for very long. You see, the NCR at the substation went down easy enough. Heck, even the Legion soldiers in and around the dam didn't come close to stopping me. But then, I reached the Legate.
Pocket sand!
As you may expect, Lanius was not to be messed with. Even with all of my healing supplies and chems, he could wipe the floor with me in a one-on-one fight. A big part of this may be due to the fact that I also made the decision to fight all of his men as well, but that's neither here nor there. There was no way to do this out in the open and fair, so here's hoping the Legate is lactose intolerant as I'm about to apply some cheese. Luring the Legate and his men to the tents and waiting inside is possibly the most effective way for me to take them out, as it doesn't give them a lot of room to move, so I'm more than likely going to hit someone with my fistful of sand. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this was the only factor that got me the victory. To be honest, what probably helped even more was that for some reason the Legate grabbed one of the marksman carbines from the Dead Legion and started to use that instead. What this means is he couldn't batter me away with his sword anymore, and so that I could just back him into a corner and effortlessly finish him off. With the Legate down for the count, mopping up the last of the Legion was an absolute breeze. All that leaves is the General, whose Rangers would have wiped the floor with me if it wasn't for the help of Yes Man. I am just about able to tough it out by swallowing everything in the aid tab, and then I can even manage to get the last hit in the General. Yes Man then comes over and talks to me, finishing the game and proving that yes, you can indeed beat Fallout New Vegas with only pocket sand. This is by far the dumbest idea you've all ever suggested, and I couldn't be happier with all of you. Regardless, that's going to be the end of this challenge video. If you enjoyed what you saw, consider giving the video a like, and if you're interested in more challenges in the future, feel free to subscribe. Try one of these videos out every week. My name is Nerbit. Stay safe, everyone. I'll see y'all in the next video.